Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Play Like a Girl. I'm your host, Gianna Cambria. And if some of you didn't know, I am originally from Bronx, New York, and we have a special guest with us that is from my hometown. We played softball together. We went to high school together. So I'm excited to tell everybody that today we have Taylor Rondon from St. Peter's University, which is a D1 softball program. So let's introduce her now. Hi, Taylor. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited that you're on our show. I haven't seen you in 3 years.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So let's jump right into our first question. I just want you, I kind of already know how you got into softball, but I want you to tell the guests and everybody watching how you got into the sport.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty funny story. My dad brought home a flyer for like this Throgs Neck like rec league, and he was like, "Oh, you should play." And I was like, "No, like you've never played softball a day in your life." And I was like, "Well, we're gonna go for it." And I sucked for a really long time, but we eventually got there. So
We did. Taylor and I played on the same team for a significant amount of years. So we started from the bottom, but we definitely made our way up to the top at the end. So can you explain to us, like, as you were playing, when did you know you wanted to pursue this to the college level?
for me, when I was like playing in the rec leagues, I really wasn't thinking about college, not like that anyway. And then I eventually found this travel team that was really competitive, and I spoke to the coach, and he was basically saying that if I joined, then I have to be really committed. And I think at that point, when I decided to commit to softball, because I was playing 3 other sports in high school, so I think once I committed to softball is when I realized, like, all right, we're gonna do this.
Mhm. So as you mentioned, those 3 other sports in high school that you played, how do you think they strengthened you and your skills with softball?
Well, they each kind of helped me balance everything. It was a lot being like a 3 sport athlete in high school, especially with all the workload that I had. But
Mhm.
like each sport had different advantages. Like I played basketball, so it like helped me with my conditioning. I played volleyball, so that was really good for like strength, and then softball was obviously my last sport.
My mom just commented, "Hey T," on my
Hi.
she was so excited that you were on the show tonight.
That's awesome. I miss her so much. I haven't seen her in forever.
So was there a time that you all right, so let's go back a step. Was there a coach that influenced you or a family member? I remember you mentioning your dad that just kept you going forward and pushed you really hard to keep pursuing this sport.
Yeah, I think it was both my parents, if I'm being honest. Like, it was a big commitment, especially once I went to the travel team, because that was a travel team in Westchester. So practices in itself were about an hour away. And then games, we traveled down south, we traveled out west. So we were traveling a lot, and they both have full-time jobs. They have like other things to do. So it was really a commitment on all 3 of our ends, and like figuring out who's going to drive me to practice
Mhm.
and stuff, because I really didn't start driving till towards the end of my career. So I leaned on them a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember when you joined your travel team, you were on different ones at the time, but I just remember how stressed out you were and how you were saying, "Oh my God," like blah blah. And I was like, "You can do it, Taylor." Like now look at where you are.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about injuries. Have you ever had like was there any a terrible injury that you've had in your career?
Yeah. Actually, I'm kind of dealing with something right now. During the winter break, I caught COVID,
Okay.
and it significantly took an effect on my heart and my breathing. So I'm actually going through a pretty rough patch right now, just trying to get back on the field
Mm,
and trying to do the best I can. like just trying to get better. And it's really frustrating because I really didn't realize how much of an effect it had until I started playing, until I got back onto the field, and how difficult it can be sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I had COVID as well back in.
Oh,
It was so hard.
yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't playing sports at the time when I had it, but just getting out of COVID and going back into your regular like conditioning schedule, your regular whatever schedule you guys had, like that must have been so difficult.
Yeah.
So, how did you mentally get yourself back into your regular state to get back into the game and to keep playing?
For me, I think it was a group effort again, honestly, with my sports medicine department at school. They really did help me. And two people in particular, they saw how frustrated I was getting, and they really kind of lifted me up. And I think that's why St. Peter's is such a great program, because they really do care about you, and they helped me through a rough patch. They're still helping me through it.
Yeah. So, why did you choose St. Peter's? What was it that attracted you to them?
Um, So, if I'm being honest, I was looking around at different schools. I didn't have a direction. I really didn't have a clear path of where I wanted to go. I wanted to get into veterinary medicine. That was like my main goal. And
Mhm,
St. Peter's had everything I wanted. I was able to get a scholarship there, both academically and athletically, which helped a lot because a lot of the other schools I was looking at were D3, D2s. So I wasn't going to get as much money.
mhm.
So St. Peter's really helped me out on that aspect.
Okay. Well, that's great. So, can you just tell us a day, like what it's like for you being a St. Peter's athlete on the softball team?
Yeah, sure. So I can take you through like a day in season. So kind of
Mhm,
right now. So we have 6 a.m. lift. So I'm up by like 4:35, and then we have to walk up the hill to go to the our RLC, which is like our weight room gym. And then we work out for about an hour with our strength and conditioning coach. And he actually was a strength and conditioning coach for I think a hockey team, like a professional hockey team. I can't remember what. And then afterwards, I usually go back to my dorm. I'll shower. I have a few classes in the morning. Usually, I have like an 8, a 9, and a 10. And
mhm.
then I have hitting. So then I'd go to hitting at 10:30. And then we usually have practice at night. So from 6 to 8, we have practices. And that's kind of on a lighter day just because we haven't really entered season yet. We're still like taking it easy with everything. But that's kind of like a gist of everything.
Yeah. So that's very hectic. You, like explain how was it difficult right after high school getting to adapt to that schedule? How did you do it?
Oh, yeah, it was extremely difficult, but for a different reason. Because in high school, I did go to, like, morning workouts before school, and I went to the gym before, so I was accustomed to getting up early. The problem was I tried to take on a job while
Mhm,
doing this, and that was not a smart idea, and it was just hard because I really got attached to my job, and it was something I started working at an animal hospital, which is the career that I wanted to go through. So that kind of became a little bit of an issue with me not being able to sleep. I would go 2 hours sleeping every day and
oh god.
trying to get it all done. But I kind of took a break from my job, and I think I'm much happier for it just because I can focus on my sport, which is why I'm here, which is what I worked so hard for all these years.
Mhm, exactly. So, did you entirely, just, like, step down from that job position right now, or did you tell them I'm coming back, or do you, like, work with them on the side when you come back for the holidays?
Yeah, yeah. So I work with them on the side, like when it comes for like holidays, summer, winter breaks. It's actually near my school here, so it's easy to commute to from here if I ever needed to. And I have like a manager position over there because I've actually been working there over a year now. It's been a while, so I can do a lot of things behind the scenes. Like I do a lot of like educational videos for the employees and new people. So I think I kind of found a good balance where I didn't have to completely leave my job, but
Mhm.
I still have softball as a priority.
Yeah, and that's really important because even though, like, you worked so hard to get to where you are right now, having that job on the side, knowing that you can go back to there is so important because in the future, right after you're done with college, you can be like, "Hey, I'm ready to step back in. Will
Mhm.
you have me?" So we're gonna take a short break right now. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about how COVID has affected your season. And I'm just going to ask you a little bit more questions about your game and the sport that you have grown up to love.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll be back in a few. Hi guys, welcome back to Play Like a Girl. I'm your host, Gianna Cambria, and with us we have St. Peter's softball player, Taylor Rondon.
Hey guys.
Before we get going, I just wanted to remind everybody watching to please follow playlikeagirl.sfbn Rhode Island on Instagram. It would mean so much if you followed us there and you can see more content. Also, my viewers that are watching, if you comment, we can answer some of the questions in the comments that you had for Taylor. So what I want to get back into is we were talking about COVID a little bit before, but can you tell us how it's changed your season and impacted your team so far?
Yeah. So it was really devastating when COVID hit. I think for every athlete. I was a freshman, so I felt like I had a lot of proving myself to do. I was kind of the underdog, and we were a class of 10 freshmen coming in, and 3 of them were pitchers. We had a roster of about 8 pitchers at the time, and now we even have more. So it was me coming in hungry, me coming in wanting to get a starting position. And we had all of our fall season, but it was kind of, our fall was only like a preseason. So then we got into the spring, and we ended up going to California for our first few games. That was like our scheduled games. And then right after we got back, played 1 game and got shut down from COVID. And it was just really disappointing because we heard all these things on the news. We heard all these things happening, and we just kept saying, no, never. Like, this isn't going to happen. Like, sports will go on. It's sports. This isn't going to happen. And it did. And it was just new territory for everyone. And I don't think anyone really knew how to feel.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And when I was talking with I had a girl from our softball team on the show, and she was explaining to me, she was a senior, and she said that the younger girls that were on her team during the time, the girls that came in as freshmen during 2020, the COVID season, they didn't really get to know them as well as they should have. Did you feel like as a freshman that was your case, or did you like bond with your team easily?
No, yeah, I definitely feel like there was a lot of, I missed out on a lot of the seniors. There were a lot, and we really didn't get to know each other that much. We were on different sides of campus, and besides practices and stuff, yeah, I do feel like that. We got cut very, very short. We only had like 5 games.
Okay. No, because almost every athlete in college that I talk to on the show tells me that they have the same problem. And like, I don't know how I would feel if I was in your shoes, because like going into a sport, it's very scary and intimidating as a freshman, even a freshman in high school and a freshman in college. So,
Yeah.
Somebody just asked, what's the biggest difference between playing travel ball and playing college ball?
It is a lot stricter, and I learned that out the hard way, actually. So travel ball, the travel team that I was in, it was a really structured program to begin with. So I already kind of had a sense of do this then and do it right. But when I came to softball, it was on a whole other level. It was things change and you have to be ready for anything, especially with the COVID thing. So I could be planning for a 10 o'clock practice, but no, it's going to rain at 10. So we're practicing at 9. I hope you're ready as long as you don't have class. And I think that was a little hard for me because I'm a very structured person. I'm a very calendar oriented person. So the fact is like, no, you said 10. We cannot do 9. No. So that kind of threw me off, but I had to learn pretty quickly to adapt because that's just how it is. You're here for your sport and school, and anything else has to take a backseat.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I do remember you being so structured in even high school. So
Yeah.
I can imagine how kind of frustrating and confusing that was at the time.
Yeah.
But you're definitely adapting to it the right way. So what would you say is the best part of the game at St. Peter's? What's your favorite part?
I love pitching because I came in as a defensive and offensive player. And I actually, my first year I did hit, but this year I opted out of hitting just for the year because I wanted to focus on my pitching. I felt like I wasn't where I wanted to be. I came in throwing about low to mid 60s, and my freshman year I don't know, I got in my head and I was throwing about high 50s, maybe low 60s, and I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I knew I needed to get better. So I did that, and I actually came this last fall doing a lot better and being where I wanted to be. So pitching definitely is my favorite aspect of the sport.
No, yeah, definitely. Even when we were playing together, Taylor, I was always your catcher. We had our signature handshake before we played that inning, and it was just the best feeling. Honestly, I can say from the bottom of my heart, you were my favorite pitcher.
Oh, thank you.
And I think we just because we were so close in high school and during when we played travel together before you switched teams, and then when we were playing in high school, we had a good rhythm. So your catcher now probably feels the exact same way, and she's probably so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you.
So no problem. If there was one message that you can give to younger softball players that are watching right now, maybe from the Bronx that are on the same rec league that we were on, what is one piece of advice that you would give them from becoming a Division I softball player?
It would be to not give up. My journey was not an easy one, especially coming from where I was. Softball, in the Bronx, I'm pretty sure we were the only travel team in the Bronx. Everyone knew each other. It's a very small area of sports, and it was hard. It was hard adjusting to this big travel team where all these girls have been playing since 4 years old, and they've been playing competitively from 4 years old, and they had all of these tools, and I'm coming from almost self-taught things. I kind of taught myself how to pitch. I was just bored and I hated first base and I wanted to pitch. That was literally the reason. So it was just really hard because all these girls had pitching instructors and had all these private lessons, and I didn't. And I had to pick up really quickly. And it was really frustrating because I remember when I made the team, the head coach texted me and he was like, listen, I'm going to put you on the team, but you have a lot of work to do. Don't think it's going to be easy. You're going to be behind, and I need you to know that. And if you're not ready for that, then don't even bother showing up. And it was really hard. It was hard at first. It was a really hard adjustment, but eventually I think I caught up to a lot of the girls, and it's a good feeling. So don't give up, even if you feel like you're behind.
Definitely don't give up. But let's talk about that a little bit. That's intimidating. So when he sent you that message, what was your first reaction?
So at first it was kind of phrased as, you made the team, you have to work really hard. So I came from a rec league where everyone knows everyone. So I was like the hot shot pitcher from the Bronx. So I was like, oh yeah, of course I made the team. And then I realized that first practice what he actually meant by you have to work hard, when I absolutely sucked compared to everyone else. And that's when I realized, oh, okay.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of a push to really understand things, not even just sports related, in the everyday world. I'm working for the men's and women's basketball games at URI, and it didn't phase me that it did phase me. And I was so appreciative of working for these games, but the one time that I did something wrong was the time that I got, well, I didn't get yelled at, but I just got lectured. And that really taught me not to do it again, but also to like get my shit together, you know?
Right, right.
So that first day of practice, how did you feel?
So I remember kind of being a little embarrassed just because I kind of was put to the side with the pitching coach that they had. And he was just like, you're going to work with me today and we're just going to do pitching and we're just going to do stuff. So I'm like, all right, like I can pitch. And then I started pitching and he was like, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. We have to fix this. We have to fix this. We have to fix this. And then I remember I've never gotten like radared before then. And
Mm,
this is about the summer after freshman year of high school. So I was an older pitcher to be starting at this
yeah.
level. And he radared me and it was really low. And he's like, a girl your size, a girl almost 6 feet tall should not be throwing this. This is a problem. And I just remember feeling so down on myself. Like this is my
Mm,
first practice. I was so excited and just
yeah.
yeah.
So unfortunately, that does happen to like a significant amount of women in sports.
Mhm.
And when stuff like that does happen, it's mentally draining, it's emotionally draining. So, what would you say you did for yourself to pick yourself back up after that first practice and just mentally get you there for the second one?
What I think the biggest thing for me was had to make a decision on if I wanted to continue. And it was hard because I was a freshman in high school. I didn't think I needed to, no one was picking which sport they wanted to play in college. And I never was the type of person that wanted to put all her eggs in one basket.
Mhm.
And that's what I had to do. I had to quit my other two sports and it was really hard. Basketball, not so much. I kind of sucked at basketball. Not gonna lie, I did not like it at all. But volleyball, I was my second love, and I really loved it. And I had to
Mhm.
choose um, playing all these sports and kind of like rolling myself so thin, or saying, "All right, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do it right." And that's what I had to do. So I did quit my other two sports by my sophomore year, which is kind of upsetting just because I was going to varsity on both of the other two sports. But I don't regret it at all. I think quitting the other two sports and having more time for softball, getting a personal trainer, getting a private lessons with pitching, getting private hitting lessons, that all I couldn't have done with playing those other sports. So
Yeah.
I don't regret it.
No, definitely. And that's so important because I remember how much you loved volleyball.
Yeah.
You were amazing at it, by the way. But
Thank you.
no problem. But I can also agree with you because when I got my private coach for softball, I thought I wanted to pursue it to college at the time. When I got him, I just saw my like skills increase daily or weekly. And that's just important for you, especially as a sophomore, you said that was.
Right.
You had 3 years until college or 2, and then you were deciding, and that definitely helped you get there.
Yeah, and I think it was a big push for me because these girls on my team were already getting recruited at sophomore year.
Mhm.
So it was, I have to get my shit together by junior year, and that's late. So my junior year, all I kept hearing is, sorry, we already recruited for your class. So yeah, like a lot of the girls on my team by when I joined were already committed to D1
Yeah.
sports and they were just there for playing and practicing and I was just
Mhm.
starting.
No, it's definitely very competitive. I
Mhm.
do remember, like, going to tournaments in Long Island or wherever I was that weekend, like, there was just like, you would have to print out a profile, and the scouts would only look at the freshmen and sophomore, so you'd had to get your stuff together by that time.
Yep.
So it was very, very competitive and scary.
Yeah.
But what would you say your biggest accomplishment has been so far?
Um, for me, I think it would be the speed that I'm at, just because that was the biggest part of what was going to get me noticed. We went a lot down south,
Mhm.
and these 10-year-olds were pitching 65 miles an hour, and as I know my height is I'm really tall. So when I walk on the field, I've always known that a coach would more than likely look at me just because of how tall I am and because I'm a lefty. And I had to follow that up with speed sometimes. And so I think my biggest accomplishment is getting the speed that I finally want to get. And I still feel like I can push a little bit more. So that's kind of something my goal for this season is to kind of get it up a little bit further.
So what's your goal? What do you want?
So I once hit like 65, 66, and I want to kind of get 61, 62 consistently and like pop at 65. That would be amazing. I'm not there yet. Definitely not there yet, but I feel like I can get there, and I think that's the most important part. Like my motivation's there, and I need to get there.
Yeah, well, that's great that your motivation is there, because that's the first thing. That's the first key to your success, you know? If you're not like mentally there in your head, you're not physically going to get there. You just have to be there for yourself and all, and then you will.
Yeah.
So I know that a lot of softball players, especially D1 softball players, have walkout songs. Do you guys do that? And if you do, what is your walkout song?
Yeah, so my walk-up song was, so it's funny how we have like this tradition at St. Peter's is everyone picks their walk-up song, but your freshman year of your first home game, the seniors pick your walk-up song as like a joke. And so of course that was the only walk-up song that was played. I didn't get to play mine. Mine was gonna be Ballin'. But they played Gummy Bears, like I'm a gummy bear, because I can be pretty ditzy sometimes. So they thought it was pretty funny, but I was just like, what is this? Because I didn't know of the traditions. So this is wrong. No. Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, did you change it, or did you just stick with it for this season?
We didn't have a chance to. We got cut out. But this season, I'm not sure what I'm gonna pick yet. Honestly, I don't know.
Do you have anything in mind?
I'm kind of corny. I was gonna do like Fifi, because there's like a part where it's like I'm from New York because I'm cocky. I was like, yeah, like we should go that route. So I don't know. Still in the works.
No, that's so funny. Okay, so that would be a great walkout song. I can see you walking out to it. So this is going to be my last question for you. I always ask this to everybody. Obviously, you know, this podcast is called Play Like a Girl. The whole Play Like a Girl movement has been going around recently. It's trending. What do you think it means to play like a girl, and why do you think it's important for younger girls to understand it?
Yeah, I think that is a really strong message, especially for my school, just because we are a very heavy men's basketball sport, and our school does not try to hide that whatsoever, and it is frustrating at times because the softball team here is a pretty good program and we do pretty well, but we don't get the recognition that, let's say, basketball does, or one of the other sports. So I think it's just really important to empower women and make sure that that we keep pushing and keep making sure that we're going to get recognized one day, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. That was great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Taylor, for being on the podcast tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I had such a great time reconnecting with you.
Yeah, this was great.
And if you like ever need anything in the future, or if anybody else on your team wants to be on the podcast, or your coaches are interested, just let me know, because I would love to talk to any of them.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Bye. Have a great night.
Bye. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So that was Taylor. She's one of my very good friends from New York. We used to play softball together from the age of, I think we were 10 when we first started playing together, and we played until we were 18. So I loved every second of getting to know it. But before I bring this podcast to a closing, I just want to celebrate Sarah Thomas and her accomplishment with being the first female referee to officiate a Super Bowl championship game. The first Super Bowl was in 1967, so I think just waiting until 2021 to do this was crazy, but I'm so excited that she's calling the game, because hopefully we get to see more female referees in the future. It's an exciting time for female sports, so just keep your head up to anybody watching out there. Do what you love to do and continue to play like a girl. As you know, I'm your host, Gianna Cambria, and this is the podcast Play Like a Girl for the girls. Bye.